So, you guys just saw one of many videos I've been recently uploading. I've finally found the motivation and time to actually edit and upload videos. So that's why you're seeing them come a lot more frequent. I am 16 months behind, but they're coming, and that's the important thing. A story came up recently that needed to be addressed because I said that I was going to make a separate video on it, and I never did. So when I gave birth to my third child, his name is Giuliano, I call him JJ, I had placenta retention while the delivery process was happening. So I had predominant labor the last couple weeks of my pregnancy, and then I had my son. So I think the predominant labor had something to do with my uterus already being in some kind of distress. There's nothing to prove that. I get to the hospital after a long time in labor around 8 p.m. and they tell me that I'm at a 7. And I'm very impressed with myself, very proud, like, yeah, I'm at a 7 and I'm doing so well. Come to find out, my contractions aren't as strong as they should be for the level of labor I'm at. So since I was already in very much active labor, my contractions were measuring at like an 80, 90 on the scale, and they should be more like 200, something like that. So they were going to give me Pitocin, which now looking back might have helped my placenta come out better. But again, nothing can be proven. This is just my theory.
He's so little.
After my baby came out, my placenta was due to come out. Now, I've always had delayed placenta come out, and I've never had any issues. I've never had infections. I've never had, like, the doctors really show any concern. But they had a student doctor this time, and she did something that's called placenta manipulation.
The umbilical cord has to be pulled all the way out? Or...
The umbilical cord is already out. This is some membranes from the placenta. Okay.
This looks like the umbilical cord
because we're twisting it up.
Where she was tugging and twisting on my umbilical cord, causing my placenta to come apart, explode inside of me because my placenta wasn't ready. Now, thankfully, I had an epidural, so I didn't feel much of what was going on. Was I a little disappointed in myself at the time? Yes, I wish I could have done med-free, but now I know that that was the best decision. During that process, the reason why it took so long for them to deliver my placenta was because they were basically scooping it out of me, and I was losing a lot of blood, so I had hemorrhaged, which I didn't know, and I hate how doctors do that, where they do that so that you don't worry, but I wish afterwards they would have told me and I wouldn't have found out through the report itself. They did give me some antibiotics after the fact because, well, they were just scooping stuff out of me with their hands, but they were supposed to also do an ultrasound after the fact to make sure that they got all of the pieces out. They decided not to because my doctor was very confident in his student that she retrieved all the pieces. About 6 days postpartum, which would be the day before Christmas, and my postpartum contractions are pretty bad. They are not supposed to be happening still. As far as I know, they shouldn't be that bad by day 5 or 6. I would still kind of be having them, but they were bad. They were really bad. I noticed that something was wrong on Christmas because I would take a pain pill for my contractions and then I would be okay, but something changed. I knew something wasn't right because I still wasn't feeling okay. I didn't feel like I was making any progress towards getting back to normal. My thought process was kind of foggy and I couldn't concentrate very well. I was very, very weak and my bleeding was awful. Again, 6 days postpartum, can't really expect much, but for me personally, I knew that this was a little worse than usual. I did have a feeling that it had something to do with my placenta problem. I thought maybe there is something still left, maybe something's wrong, like something's going on. I just feel it. So that evening, so it was now the 26th, around 1 or 2 in the morning, I feel the need to go pee. I go pee, and I feel like a blood clot wants to pass. Now, I've been feeling kind of crampy, so I thought, okay, a blood clot, whatever. But when I go to wipe, it feels weird. So I go to touch my vagina, and there's a big something there, like something organy and weird. So you would be right to assume I'm feeling placenta. But when everything was happening, I thought, oh my god, my uterus is falling out of my body. So I go to like touch it to see if it like hurts me, or like, you know, if it's attached, and it doesn't hurt me. But when I do touch, a big gush of just water, like fluids and blood, just come out. And I freak out and I say, Jimmy, wake up. We've got to go to the hospital now. At this emergency room, he did check me, and he pulled out a big chunk of it and said, yes, this is placenta. I don't have the right equipment or ability to really handle this. We have to send you to the hospital that you delivered at. Now, keep in mind, I have a 6-day-old baby that I'm like just wanting to cuddle and breastfeed and be with, and thank goodness I was pumping already, because there was a boob milk stash all ready for him, and he ended up going to stay with his aunt. So I get in an ambulance and we head straight to my hospital. There was this amazing female OB that worked in the emergency department, and she wanted to avoid a D&C because I just had given birth and that would irritate my uterus, cause scarring, just a bunch of stuff. She said, but that would be the route that we would take if we can't manually remove it. About the amount of, you know, those pee cups that they have you pee in for like urine analysis and stuff? One of those was full of just placenta pieces of her just pulling them out and putting them in there. Now, I am not numbed. I had morphine. We did it twice. Both times she did remove stuff. She did think of another backup plan that my doctor wanted to go with, and that was taking Cytotec, which would dilate me enough and hopefully bring out whatever else was left. They wanted to see how much this little bit was, because she could feel something that was stuck in my cervix. That's probably why I was still having all those postpartum contractions and stuff, was because it was stuck. So they did the ultrasound. They said, yes, there was a tiny bit left in my cervix, so the Cytotec should help dilate me just enough to get it out. One round of this pill, they check me in, I get in, I'm laying down, they give me the pill, I'm ready, and sure enough, I feel the contractions come back. They're not worse, they're about the same. And then I'm like, okay, I need to go pee. Let's see if this is it. I am not over exaggerating when I tell you that when this piece came out, it was not a little piece. It was large. I had to pull it manually out of myself to get it out. This is the little piece that was supposedly left. But I was so relieved, because I felt like my body was mine again. I felt like I wasn't sick anymore. Like, that's all it took. And this piece was like this long, and it filled up another one of those urine analysis cups. They gave me about 6 pills to take home to continue to take them, just in case there was anything left. I was there for maybe another 12 hours after that big pass. They did not do a follow-up ultrasound because they gave me the Cytotec. Here is the best thing that has happened that also lets me know that the biggest portion of this was over. When my son was born, you know, your milk doesn't come in right as you give birth. It takes a couple days. My milk still hadn't been coming in. I have breastfed before, and this isn't it. As soon as that piece came out, maybe within an hour, my milk came in so strong that I started to cry, because I was so happy that that's what this whole problem with my milk was, that my body still treated me like I was pregnant, and the relief. So this placed me in the category of high risk if I ever did get pregnant again, because I've not only had a C-section, but now with my second vaginal birth, I had placental retention. Now here's the good news. I am pregnant again. There's a big story that goes on with that. But my doctor, because I am back in Vegas now, this doctor was in Phoenix. I have been told by my doctor that they don't practice placenta manipulation at all. He is very aware that my placentas take a little time to come out because he has delivered my other kids before. He said I've had no issues. That thankfully, yeah, I'm a little bit high risk, but that doesn't ruin my chances to have a VBAC again. And if I'm good, I'm good. And I'm good. Just trust your body. If something doesn't feel right after you've given birth, especially, let somebody know, because we as moms always think that we have to be superheroes, and like if we're feeling a little bit uncomfortable, we just gotta push it aside, be like, yeah, I could do it all by myself. But like, I probably would have gone to the doctor so much sooner if I wasn't trying to be that super mom and write it out and just push myself and whatever. If I would have listened to my body and actually been like, you know what, yeah, there's something wrong, I need to go to the doctor, I probably would have been handled a lot sooner. I did have an infection that got solved after that. I am a little bit scarred from all of that, not for the labor portion, but more so the like afterwards portion. But other than this little fact, I think my labor and delivery was fantastic. So that is my placental retention story. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for joining me.